Been through them trenches, been in that dungeon. It's amazing I'm able to still function with the dirt from the prisons that I was buried in. Plus the weight of the world I'm now carrying. But I gotta keep fighting, I can't stop now. For the sisters and brothers that still locked down. For the people that's battling heavy mind wars. In the darkest of hours is when I shine more. Victory is all I see, I'm so locked in. Cause going back in that box is not an option. So I grind all the time, that's my mind state. The sublime intertwined with divine fate. It's whatever for the fam, that's how I'm structured. So when the road gets tough, I get tougher. Some fake, some folded, some fronted. But not me, all I can be is 100. Some fake, some folded, some fronted. But not me, all I can be is 100. 100, 100. All I can be is 100. 100, 100. All I can be is 100. Welcome to the 100.
So in 2003, I don't even know how to say it, but my life changed in a matter of a couple of seconds, right? I went from somebody who had never gotten in trouble before to getting sentenced to 144 years. Nobody lost their life. Nobody was even physically harmed. But I was lost. I didn't know the legal system. My family didn't know it either. We didn't have the resources. We didn't have the ability to get the right type of attorney. Well, it happens every day. And that's why we're here now. We're here to tell the stories, the truths about what goes on behind those prison walls and those courtrooms, the fights that y'all don't see.
Peace to the planet Earth, man. And as always, thank you for joining us here on the Life Unit Inc. Somebody asked me like one time, like, what do you be doing when the theme music plays? I'm actually blasting the live stream to different groups, and I have not figured out how to do it a faster way. So I'm old school with it. I got the phone, I'm blasting it out, and then we go into the build or the topic. Which tonight we get into a few things. As always, I'm back up here with my brother Seventh Letter. He was just up here. What was it, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, something like that, man.
Something like
Weeks
that.
ago, yeah, I feel like yesterday, man.
It feel like yesterday. It might have been yesterday. I don't know. We gonna build. We gonna talk about some things. Our goal is always not to sway anybody or influence anything. It's just to get you to think. One thing I like about my brother, aside from the work that he's doing, he's somebody that I like his perspective on things. The last time he was up here, he posed a question in regards to the second chance. What qualifies a victim in regards to the veto? Today you got some more stuff you want to talk about. We're gonna get into
Absolutely.
what's the first thing we getting into today, man?
Well, first and foremost, man, I just want to say that, we here for all our family, friends, and loved ones behind the wall, man. This is who we do it for. Um, if you standing with them, then we all standing together. I want to
Fact.
first say that, man, because the divide and conquer is real, and together we stronger. But I basically wanted to build on the word eligibility, right? And the reason I wanted to build on that word eligibility is because this is the word that gets thrown around a lot, and is used to scare the public and to deter the public from supporting these bills this needed in our society and in our communities, man. These criminal justice reform bills is humanity. Like that's basically what we that's no, that's definitely what we teaching. We teaching humanity, man. Like the past bills that supports people incarcerated, people who have made a mistake to reform themselves and better themselves and join society or rejoin society as a better person. That should be the ultimate goal. And these bills that have been getting passed using this word eligibility, um, that has been uh said to be the aim, reform and keeping the public safe and things of that nature. But in all actuality, man, it's a word of trickery because eligibility is just that. I'm eligible. It doesn't mean I'm getting out. It doesn't mean I can make it. It doesn't mean I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna receive anything. You can be eligible for something your whole life and never receive it. We eligible for a bunch of things. The lottery, you eligible to win that.
Let me read the definition real quick
Okay.
because you asked me to pull it up. So I definitely I got that. It says, "What is the full meaning of eligibility? It says the quality or state of being eligible, fitness or suitability to be chosen, selected, or allowed to do something. The applicants must meet all requirements for eligibility." What is your I guess your response when somebody says, "Well, at least my loved one can be eligible"? Like, what's the reality of that if they've never experienced prison time or been waiting at a chance for freedom? What being something being eligible versus something being granted?
Well, me personally, man, speaking from personal experience, I did 13 years and 4 months, and um, I waited for things that I thought I was eligible for. I was eligible for a pardon. I was eligible for an appeal. I was eligible for even petitions such as writs of habeas corpus. That's like post conviction. So it's a bunch of post conviction remedies that you eligible for. However, I did an entire sentence. Like I took it straight to the door. I did everything I was supposed to do in the hope that I would be eligible for things that never came. So I think you know it's I don't know, man. It's like a double-edged sword because we tell hope and we teach about hope and things of that nature. Give brothers hope, give them something to work for. But at the same time, man, dangling something over their head that they never gonna obtain is torture. I would rather know, man. I got 5 years or 10 years or whatever the case may be, than for you to 9 years consecutively dangle my freedom in my face and say I'm eligible for it, but you know you was never gonna give it to me.
Yeah, I think that I personally experienced with the partying. I had a party and I thought it had some traction for real. I thought mine was really going somewhere. And that's the first time I started paying attention to language. I started to pay attention to language before. Obviously, I got in trouble. I started getting to the law library, but when I seen I had a chance of getting home early, I started really getting it. And here comes words like shall, instead of
Yeah,
must. And,
yeah,
and there's these different words that they use within the language of law and that we've got to be aware of because one word can alter an entire paragraph or meaning to something. And a lot of times my concern for my brothers and sisters that was in there, my brothers that was in there, um, that eligible word sometimes to them means mandatory or I'm gonna get that. And then when
mhm,
they get to that spot and they get that turn down or whatever it is, boom, like you said. How important is morale? Like, and this is kind of off the cuff, but it's on the cuff. Like, where do you see morale with the brothers you speaking to right now, in regards to what's going on with the General Assembly, or just their overall feeling and mood? Because these are the people that are trying to get home.
absolutely. Um, I would just say, man, to to walk past memos and like notices from the Department of Corrections and things of that nature. You on the pod, you come out your cell early in the morning, whatever the case may be, and you see some stuff on the board. You ask your neighbor or whatever, man. Hey, what's that talking about, man? What's going on with the board? And it's basically something that don't apply to you. Um, and you keep seeing these memos over and over for decades, since you was 17, since you was 19, since you was 18, and now you're 31, or you're 47, or you're 39 years old, and you still seeing these memos that don't apply to you. It say you eligible, but you've been eligible for these memos that's going up. I just want to say this. I watch some of the victims speak at the General Assembly. And one particular victim caught my attention. I can't remember her name, but She said, "What is the point of these guys being eligible and petitioning us? And I'm gonna say no anyway." That's what she said. She said she gonna say no before the law even get passed. She already got a predetermined idea what she gonna do. She know I don't even care if the dude who did this to my husband is eligible. I'm telling you, I'm gonna say no twice. But he
Right.
eligible though. Like that's how they that's the morale right now. Like the brothers
That's-
behind the wall, they know this to be a reality. They know what's going on. They know about them words like you said, like shall and eligible. Like they, it's sad for real.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing. I think, like we just had Taj up here and he spoke on and I know Juanita said something about they're not good, obviously, with that new piece being added in. Um, and I think for me, when I first learned of that new development, I talked to my brother, I talked to other people, and the morale was down. Like that was like a crushing blow.
Yes.
So, I for I guess the best way I can relate to it in my experience is when guys used to go up for parole and they would get turned down because of the nature of the crime. And the nature of the crime never changed. And they would
Absolutely.
have everything else. They would be charge free for 30 years. We then had every job, they mentors, they done took every program, but they would get denied over and over again in parole because of the nature of the offense. And that's the same thing, just in a different form, if that stays to be a part of it. I know the plan is, obviously to do some work, get that moved out, but man, somebody just said, oh, shout out to my people's kissing from 40 Strong. She said, I hear a drop immediately in the voices of my beautiful friends. It breaks my heart. That's real. And
Yeah.
that's not really being spoke about right now. I'm always concerned. What are they saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, never mind. There's two conversations, right? You got conversation us that are free fighting for them. How we feel. We're exhausted from the fight. And then you got the conversation of those that are actually trying to be free and get home. And a lot of times we're so focused on what we're saying out here, we forgetting like, oh, we need to check and see where they're at with things because we're fighting for their
Absolutely.
freedom. So I'm
Absolutely.
I'm I'm there with you, bro. I heard the same thing, and yeah, man. What else we might be talking about today, man?
Well, I also wanted to touch on something else I heard, man. The incidental victims. What about the kids, man? What about a lot of these brothers who was teenagers, some fathers, some teenage fathers who was, strapped for cash, whatever the case may be, and they did some dumb and they robbed somebody, like you said, the person didn't get hurt. What if they had a cap gun, a BB gun? They had their fist balled up under their shirt. And these
Yeah,
brothers are getting 30, 40, 50 years, and their daughters, their sons, their mothers, their grandmothers, those are also victims because they know that their baby was just trying to provide for his family or his daughter or his self. He might have been scrambling. He might have been. I done talked to some brothers that was homeless, so they was
right.
doing what they had to do, and no one got hurt, and they got 70 years. These are the
Yeah,
people that need to be looked at for second look. The kids who was arrested, the 17, 18, 19 year olds, the 21-year olds. The not to take the light off of someone who may have been older when they've committed their crime, but these children who might have been in the worst situations that you can imagine, they committed crimes where no one got hurt and they got life sentences. Their
yeah,
daughters and their families and their grandmothers, they victims too. And we don't talk about them enough.
yeah. No question. It's respect for all the victims, but I can tell you, my case, BB gun. I was the driver. They went in the spot with a BB
Yeah,
gun.
man. Come on, man. That's ridiculous.
Nobody got touched. Therefore, nobody got physically harmed. I got sentenced to 144 years, all suspended but 19 as a first time offender, no trouble before, and I was active duty United States Air Force. There's no way there were 6 people in that place when it got robbed. There's no way I believed if I was still in there and it was contingent upon that, even though it was a BB gun, even though nobody got physically touched, there's no way I believe all 6 people would say yes because of the emotional response factor. Where you get that email, letter, or however you're notified, you're automatically going to go back to that moment. You know what I'm saying? Etc. And then, like you said, the what happens to the family of these young kids, especially, I was 19 when I got in my trouble. That age group between like 16 to 22, yo, man, come on, man. There's so many guys I know, and I'm sure you do. They got robbed. They done stuck up somebody, another drug, another dealer or something. Nobody got shot. They sitting there with 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Crazy stuff. But we don't know. One thing I know is nobody knows the parameters of what the victim veto would look like if it's included.
Yeah.
So nobody knows the impact, like you said, or we know the impact firsthand of what happens when you take one of us out and you give them 1,000 years for a crime. We won't say they're innocent, but maybe they should only got 3 years. What do you think happens if something like this is put in place? Or do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it sets a bad precedent? Do you think it's a win? Do you think? Because I got my thoughts.
To be clear, like if what gets put into place?
If the victim's veto, the ability of that stayed in place and it got signed in.
Well, man, it's hard or it's unwise for anyone to support anything that they don't have the full scope of. If I tell you to sign a contract that's 100 pages, but you only can read 13 pages, I don't think a lot of people will sign that contract. What them other pages say? And it's too many variables, it's too many unpredictable aspects of this bill to concretely be for it or against it. You don't have enough information. You don't know what you supporting because when you say the word eligible, and I think I heard some numbers, 1,300 or whatever the case may be, gonna be eligible.
I was going
We
to ask
don't
you
know.
about. I was going to ask you about that real after that. Thoughts on data or any of the numbers you heard?
Absolutely, man. I think I heard one thing that was like 1,300. I think one of the ladies said it on the during the General Assembly session. It was 1,300 people that's going to be potentially eligible for this. All right. Well, how many people are actually going to touch the pavement because of this bill? And in what time frame do you estimate that those feet will touch that pavement? Because those are the real numbers. I can make up some eligibility numbers. I can say, well, 10,000 people are eligible, but 400 people might get out. 10 people might get out. So, yeah, man, I can't even really answer the question because I don't have all the data. Like, I don't know what the impact gonna be. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't got a clue because you have one lady who's saying she a victim, and I feel for her. Know what I'm saying? Like I done lost plenty of people in my life.
No
Yeah, I
question.
feel for her and her loss. And she feel the way she feel about, her family. And she's
Right.
saying the bill hasn't even been passed yet. It hasn't even been decided on. And I am going to say no twice. If I see 2 petitions, I'm going to say no twice. So this is one lady saying this. And then another situation, you might have 5 victims, 4 of them want to let you go, but one victim say no. So it's like I said, I don't know what the impact of this bill will be. I just know that based upon my personal knowledge and my history of incarceration and seeing similar legislation like this, it's one of those bills you're gonna walk past, and after about a week or two, you're gonna be ripping piece of it off and be writing it down on space paper. You're gonna be using the bill as space paper, man. The memo is not gonna mean nothing to you. On a
That's what
part of 90 people, yeah, three people, 2 people, it might seriously affect. And to end mass incarceration, man, and you might get 1 person per 90 person part. That ain't right, man.
Yeah. We're
Yeah,
gonna
nothing
see.
about that is right.
We're gonna see, man. Like I said, we all everybody's on the same side. Different people, different leaders. Everybody's got, not everybody, but different people have different pathways, but the goal is the same. I know everybody wants to end mass incarceration. A lot of people want to end incarceration altogether. And we want to keep being clear, you know what I'm saying? But we're up here. This is life or death. You know, people feel away, and it's got to be discussed. I think what's crazy is there's these moments where you look back in politics or law, and you might not think it's that pivotal, and then it's like, yo, that was a really pivotal moment. Like that shifted things. And then I think about how things are kind of like regressing in the states right now with laws. Like they're taking history away and they're doing certain things, voters' rights. And I just wonder, you know, if something like this, if it keep going forward, who does it benefit? He says, are they vetting, screening, or analyzing the victims to determine their mind states and or characters? We don't know. And that's what we were saying. G was up here last time saying, what if my victim is now currently incarcerated for unaliving an individual and he did something worse than me? How would he be qualified to make a decision to say whether or not I should go home? There's no clarification right now. So that's the reality. I mean, again, unless something changed, you know, an hour ago or whatnot. But as of right now, no clarification that we know of. And that's the scary part, I guess. It's like you're pushing something forward, and the closer you're getting to it being signed off, you've got less time to back away from it, which is crazy. But I don't know, man. What else, man? What else? Oh, the data. I want to get into the data.
Man.
You touched on it a little bit.
Yeah. I just want to know seriously. I'm curious to know their numbers and how, you know, when you deal with mathematics, every mathematical equation got a formula. They got a certain steps and rules that you have to follow in order to, you know, see this problem through and find a solution. So I'm curious to know what are the projected numbers of, again, people from this bill, feet touching the pavement.
Update.
What's that?
K. Lombardi says bill has been tabled to next year, and hopefully that will be taken out.
True indeed.
Well, thank you for the update.
Yeah, true indeed.
Emotion shouldn't play a role in the judicial process. Not at all. But what were you saying? I still want to touch on that data piece because people need to understand, like, when they're passing laws, when they're pushing things forward, when they're trying to, whatever, a bill, they're doing data. They collect data first. So you can always try to look for the data, but get into that piece real so quick so people can really understand that, G.
Yeah, I just want to know, you know, we do things like you know, census, where we collect you know, financial information, how many people in your household, things of that nature. Doing the earned sentence credits bill, you know, they projected, you know, 1,000 people, 2,000 many people that it was that's gonna be affected by the bill. You know, finances and things of that nature must be calculated. Funds got to be appropriated to the proper allocated to the proper places. Things of that nature. So with a bill like this, which is so concerning for me personally, is how do you get statistics? How do you get data from a bill that has so many variables? It's all like, I think it's literally impossible to predict, because you cannot predict the minds of 5 victims, 7 victims in my case. You can't predict. You can't even predict, are you gonna even be able to get in contact with all of them?
Mental health status. So hopefully, like K. Lombardi said, with it being tabled, they do take that out, and they've got more time to consider that.
Gotta be, man.
Now we can discuss these things and bring them really to the forefront. Yes. They got a question for you.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I think that's why forums such as this is so important, because going into it next year, people need to know these things and need to, you know, really see it through, like see these things through all the way, because there's people's lives at stake. So don't just make a bill and say it's criminal justice reform and just throw it out there without properly calculating all all of the variables because you're dealing with somebody's life.
Right. Facts. Somebody, Kirsten's got a question. She says, we keep hearing about the turmoil of a victim having to relive this. G, can you talk about the mental toll on our incarcerated population? Oh, well, you already really touched on it, to feel that hope and have it torn away. But yeah,
man. And I think the passion of the people in the prison population, man. Right now, I think it's like two type of people. It's two types of people that's incarcerated, and it's those that's strong and is not giving up, is fighting, and is doing what they supposed to do with no incentive, and they haven't had no type of incentive for decades. So they've been in there and they've been doing the right thing, and this is a personal issue. This is a personal journey of them bettering themselves and being better for their family. No incentives. So you got those people that just fight into the end, man. They just standing tall, and then you got the other people, that's falling victim to things such as mental health. It's been a lot of suicides in the Department of Corrections, man. It's been a lot of overdoses. Like, brothers trying to escape because no matter how hard they try, no matter how much they better themselves, as the public, as society, we not creating no door for them. Know what I'm saying? We don't even want to look at their case, relook at their case, even though they were 17, 18, 19 years old, and they got a life sentence in which someone didn't get murdered. No one got hurt. We don't even want to look at them no more. So they escaping through substance abuse. They escaping through violence. They escaping by ending it. Like, you got people in there that's really ending their life, man, because, man, listen, the mental health is so bad in there. You got people ending their life that is coming home. I know brothers in there that had single digits. They had months left and committed suicide. Like, this is the mental health. This is the toll, because psychologically, even if I'm coming home in 10 years, if you mentally torture me every year with false hope and BS legislation, then in my 10th year, when it's time for me to come home, I might not even be sane enough to be out here.
Yep.
And that's what's going on, man.
I've seen people get all the way down to reentry. They got less than a year and lose their mind. They start taking other people's medication. I had a brother, man, from Richmond out the R, out of respect for his fam, I won't mention, but he was walking down. He had about 5 years left. It did like 12. He was getting money. He did tattoo. Like, he knew how to carry himself. He had a shorty he was kicking it with. He just went in the cell, hung it up one day. Like, he couldn't take it. Like, it's weird. We could, even with us talking about out here, unless you've been on the inside, you'll never know the horrors, man. And it's 24 hours nonstop. You can't escape. And then in this case, it's like the flickering of a light. The light flick, you see hope, and then they shut it right back off. Imagine that happening over and over again. Everybody's not built. Everybody can't make it that long, man. They don't even want to deal with the process of having to go up and wait again for an answer sometimes. Like that, I've seen it all, man.
Just to touch on that real quick, I wanted to touch on that. You got brothers right now, legislation has been passed, such as Fishback and the juvenile parole legislation. It's been brothers that have been going up every single year since this legislation has been passed, and they have been eligible every single year. And it's some brothers' cases where it's no way they're not gonna let me go. If I qualify for the juvenile parole, it's no way they're not gonna let me go. And brothers are going up over and over and over and over again, man. And recently, something that was troubling. I heard that, someone that I knew attempted to take their own life because they thought, after all this good I've been doing for 2 decades, I gotta be the one that make this juvenile parole thing. I gotta be the perfect candidate. And he got turned down and didn't get it and tried to take his own life, man. That's what's going on in there. That is torture. That's torturing people. We dangling their freedom, the greatest thing that they ever can obtain. We dangling it in their face, man. And with no incentive, these brothers are doing the right thing. and we dangling their freedom in their face, and then we say, all right, now come out here and get a job. Come out here and be in society. That don't make sense.
Yep. We got brothers on the inside, like Jefferson Ellie, our brother, running nonprofits and hosting events in Yorktown, writing books. He can't even be there. He can't,
Yeah.
but he's making an impact. But hey, according to the powers that be for right now. But by the way, we got over 183,000 signatures in support of his release. So
fine,
tap in if you want to support, man. I'm gonna go through these last. Then it's the serious nature of the crime. That don't let them go up and apply. The crime has been the same the entire. Yep, exactly. And that's the scary part. In that mode, they got to take that out because in that mode, the nature of the crime will never change. So the basis of that,
no purpose of even having it.
Yeah, it would just be based on that person's heart at that point, whether you're gonna be free or not.
Absolutely.
So, what's final thoughts for the night, man? I know you're gonna be back. This might be a regular thing, man. We might have to get up here.
Yeah, man. Man, hopefully we get some change soon. And we ain't got to do things like this. We ain't got to tell people, things that's supposed to be common sense. You do not treat human beings this way, man. It's common sense. You just don't do it. Like a baby would tell you this. A 5-year-old would tell you, man, this is wrong what we doing here, man. It's common sense. We don't do this to people. And I think it's important for everybody because regardless of whom or what, we coming home. Like a large portion of the prison population is coming home eventually. So whether they come home screwed up, whether they come home with drug habits, whether they come home law-abiding, productive citizens, it's in our hands. We making the law. We the voters. We vote for our legislators, our congressmen, things of that nature, our representatives, and we the ones that's out here. We the people. So the power is with the people. So the people decides how these brothers coming home. Literally, the power in our hands. If they come home with mental health problems and screwed up, because they coming home. If they your neighbor and they screwed up, it's in our hands, man. So I think that's why everybody should care about this, and that's why this should be important, and it should be an issue. It should be everyone's issue. Even if you ain't got nobody incarcerated, you don't got no family members or no loved ones incarcerated, it's still your issue because those brothers and sisters coming home and how they come home is going to be determined by the actions that we take.
Facts, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say too much on that other than to add on what he said. 1 out of every 2 person in the States has been directly or indirectly impacted by incarceration. We know what's up. We know what's up. Imagine if we all pulled it together, the type of change that could occur. And that's it, man. We on our way, though. We on our way. Shout out, and I got to say this from Georgia, shout out to Virginia always because they standing strong. There has been great positive change out there. There has been some laws that needed to be shifted and passed and pushed forward. And anybody in the Georgia area, March 1st, we're going to be at the Capitol, Liberty Square, where ground zero, here we go. Criminal justice reform, we'll be having a rally from 2 to 5. And then we're back at the Capitol with my wife's board and committee, where we'll be rallying against some licensure issues where some people are trying to come in our industry. And that's what I'm going to say about that. So if you want to get connected to the Life Unit Inc., the email's on the bottom. 7-letter thank you, man. I'm sure you'll be back up here again, Bill. And we've been grinding all day, man. I'll see you to the next one, bro. Peace.
All right, man. Peace.